Hey, good afternoon. It's evening? It's Chris here with your Saturday night thingy. As you can tell by the daylight, it's not 6 o'clock at night. I'm recording this a little bit early because I wanted to be outside. And look what happened. It snowed. Now, snow appears in the Bible from time to time. You can Google it. I did. When snow appears in the Bible, it's often as an illustration of purity or cleanliness. In the book of Isaiah, snow is used as a metaphor for God's power to give and sustain life, and also as an illustration of how God's plan works and succeeds. Let's take a look at that. I can't sit on that. It's soaking wet. I didn't plan for that. I was going to sit here and talk to you, but it's soaking wet. All right, we'll just do it this way then. So the book of Isaiah is this big and heavy thing, really, right? While it's Old Testament, Isaiah's time was, 600, 700 years before Jesus. But the words that God gives to Isaiah for his prophecies, for this book, are so forward-looking that they point directly to Jesus as the transformer of the world. So let's go to Isaiah chapter 55, verses 10 and 11. And I'm going to put the words on the screen so you can see them. But I encourage you, when I'm done talking, go get your own Bible and look it up and sit there and study it for a little bit. It's worth it. And it's Saturday night and you're sitting here on Facebook, so I know you have nothing else to do, right? So here, let's look at Isaiah chapter 55, verse 10. It says this: "For as the rain and snow come down from heaven, and do not return there until they have watered the earth, making it bring forth and sprout, giving seed to the sower and bread to the eater." This verse from Isaiah reminds us that as miraculous as the ground is, it cannot on its own ignite or sustain life. The earth, the ground, contains all of the structural elements and minerals that we need to live, but all of that means nothing without water, right? This is a physiological or a physical, it's a biological, it's a chemical truism for all forms of life. Animals, plants, us, right? We all need water. And this life-giving water comes from above. It comes from heaven in the form of rain and in the form of snow. In Isaiah's day, or even Jesus's day, they may not have had a complete understanding of the hydrologic cycle. But they did know that when water stopped falling from the sky, crops died. And when water stopped falling from the sky, they got thirsty, right? The people of that time had a keen awareness that their very life was dependent upon the water from heaven. But we're not just talking about water here. In the very next verse, verse 11, Isaiah turns this whole thing from hydrology into theology. He's just made the point that we all know, that we can't live without the water that falls from heaven. And then in verse 11, he goes on to say this: "So shall my word be that goes out from my mouth. It shall not return to me empty, but it shall accomplish that which I purpose, and succeed in the thing for which I sent it." So here, after reminding us how essential water is to our lives, Isaiah then reminds us that the Word of God is just as important. This is the verse I want you to study. See where it says, "So shall my word be"? You can capitalize that W, because the Word is one of the identities by which we know Jesus. The Word of God brought to life in human form to show us the way, the truth, and the life. That is Jesus. So now reread verse 11 with that understanding that we're not talking about words. We're not talking about components of language. We're talking about Christ, right? See where it says, so shall my word be that goes out from my mouth? Read that and think about the miracle birth that we're about to celebrate in a couple weeks. Do you see where it says, it shall not return to me empty, but it shall accomplish that which I purpose? Read that and think about the significance of Jesus' birth, life, death, resurrection. Think about what Jesus' life has meant to human history, and maybe more importantly, to the human future. You know, these two verses taken together are a statement of God's intentions for Jesus. And these two verses taken together are a powerful restating of God's authority and intention as the one who gives, defines, and judges our lives too. As I said when I started this thingy a few minutes ago, this book of Isaiah is a big and a heavy thing. The people of Isaiah's day may have thought of him as a prophet. They may have thought of him as a crackpot. I don't know. But looking back from where we are today and seeing the truth and the perfection of his prophecy makes that book a truly awesome thing to read. And by awesome, I mean it's a book that leaves you feeling really small, me anyway, but in the presence of something really, really big. So there's a bit of Isaiah to think about tonight, a little bit of snow in the Bible. You know, Isaiah is a dude who knew and talked all about Jesus, even though he was born and lived hundreds of years before Jesus ever showed up on the scene. So that's what I have for you tonight. You know, the next time I see you is going to be tomorrow morning on the live stream. It's third Sunday of Advent. Tomorrow our pastors are talking about Emmanuel as one of Jesus's titles, one of Jesus's identities. And so it's on the live stream, 8:30 and 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Get back in the sun where you can see me. You'll find the live stream on Facebook, you'll find it on YouTube, and you'll find it at aboutfirst.com. Just scroll down on our church website, you'll find the Watch Here section, and it'll be very obvious where to watch. Two other things I want to tell you about. Remember, there's Sunday school at 9:35. Actually, three things. Sunday school at 9:35. There's the virtual gathering place at 9:30 on Zoom. You should have a link on that. But the big thing tomorrow, Hymns of Hope. It's in the afternoon, 2 o'clock. It'll be on Facebook, YouTube, and at aboutfirst.com. There are 3 different ways you can watch it, but Bevan has gathered our singers and our musicians, and we've recorded some pretty cool music to help celebrate the season, and that'll be broadcast tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. So I will see you then. Until then, have a great Saturday night.